If you bought the new Fanatec CSL pedal set with the Loadcell but ended up not particularly happy with the lack of modification possibilities and with the brake pedal arrangement, I think you'll enjoy the fact that there are now some options for you. So 3D Rap sent me a few goodies to review, and by the way, they have zero input on this video and do not know the result of it, just like in any review on this channel. And when I mean a few goodies, they basically threw the whole kitchen sink of mods at me. Those include all the elastomers and even the rubber rings. There are a few more mods available if you want to check them out, but anyways, let's first talk about the Loadcell brake arrangement in the CSL. The original system comes with a 465 short elastomer set that for some is too hard and for some is too soft. If you are the latter, I don't think this upgrade system is for you in any of the configurations. Now, 3D Rep has been offering these types of mods for a long while now. I've bought some, I've offered some and received some for review. For example, on the TLCMs, it basically fixes the issue that the brake pedal has. In the case of a Fanatec CSL Loadcell, there isn't any issue per se, you either like it or not. So what I have here is a mix of rubbers, some more ribbed than others. Anyways, the mods here are 2 linears, 2 progressive, so Dream Theater and Rush. Great bands, miss you Neil. Having 2 of each for this test, there's quite a few choices, so I went through most of them. These mods are essentially drop-in mods with no calibration required for the CSL. Like any other 3D Rap, they are built of this yellow foam that will change the characteristics of the brake. There are also other mods for the CSL like 0 decibel stoppers and outside of brakes, magnetic shifter mods. The Logitech ones, I think they are essential for the Logitech wheels, but anyway, today we'll center only on the brake performance mods. The prices for these mods tend to vary from 18 euros to 33, depending if you buy 1 or 2 foams and depending of which types of foams you buy. The replacement rings are 6. The foam in these mods is softer than the 65 short present in the CSL. The format of the foam determines how much modulation develops through the brake travel. This is less complicated than you think. The installation is straightforward. Get a long and girthy tool, stick it in the back of the pedal, then use some force on the tip of the Loadcell shaft to dislodge the assembly. Use some gloves if you don't want to score your hands or leave them dirty. To reassemble is to follow the pattern of assembly but in reverse. Remember that the small washer sits flush to the plastic stabilizer. With all of these rubbers, there are a few combinations, in total 5, 6 if you compare it to the stock set. I tried 4 combinations of the rubbers and then also the load setup to test it back to back. When installed, I can say the Loadcell looks pretty dope with that color scheme. It really sets it apart from the stock version. I'll be straightforward, I cannot say I was particularly pleased with a few of the choices. The only choice I haven't tried was the one called the Hybrids, for a few reasons that will become apparent. Anyways, a bit of context before going to my thoughts on the rubbers. The reason why I didn't like most of the choices is that I'm coming from and testing brake pedals that are configured to my taste. In this case, with a brake pedal that is harder than a stock CSL. My main pedal set is the V3s. I've tested the Giro Pro XRs with 90 short rubbers, and I'm currently testing for review the Aztec Forte with quite hard rubbers as well. If you want to keep up to date, sub and bell this channel so you'll know when that video comes out. There will be 3D Rap socks on there too. Therefore, going to a mod that makes the pedal even softer becomes a challenge. Even so, I understand its use and I'll talk about its upsides. There's a marked difference between both types of rubber. The linears have 2 big impacts on the braking. Firstly, it makes the pedal very soft. Secondly, it increases substantially the brake's travel length. This meant for me that the linear options were essentially useless. I tried linear and then fully linear, the results were very much the same. Because of that, I ignored the hybrid choice because it uses a linear rubber. Pedal feel was too mushy and then the pedal travel was too long to be something useful for me. This rubber's choice has a use case, mainly if the pedal is used on the floor or if you want to have something really soft or if you can't use your knee strength fully, if you have some damage in your knees, for example. In my case, I couldn't use these options with precision, so I left them aside. The progressive foams were my favorite choices. It's still softer than the stock that comes in the pedal, but it allowed to do something that the CSL Elite had from stock, but it was lost in this new CSL set. It has a small progression at the start for a little bit of trail braking. If you are missing a little bit of a trail braking area in your set, this could be the choice for you. In reality, the full progressive set was the one I liked and vibed the most with. even more than the stock setup. I was able to match my V3 times in a test setup, so I can't really complain. The progressive option, the one with just one rubber, was okay, but something was missing for me. The fully progressive choice just made more sense, even if the brake length was just slightly longer. As for the rubber rings, they made zero difference. They are replacements if the original ones break. So there's really nothing much to talk about besides they are made of the same material as the foam instead of the more rigid material of the original, and this supposedly will make these rings last longer. So what these mods end up being is basically different strokes for different folks. In terms of my favorite to my least favorite would be like these two, the fully progressive, then the stock pedals, then the progressive, and then the linears at the end. I just didn't like the way they felt on my foot. What these mods ended up doing is just change the way that the pedal progresses, not just to add or remove stiffness to your brake travel. For most of these mods, I couldn't fully utilize its performance. It was simply not for me, but if you're looking for something to remove some stiffness from your CSL Loadcell pedal, so have a look at these. But anyways, let us know in the comments what you think about this product, if you have tried something like this for the Fanatec CSL. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and also check out the 3D wrap mod video on your left.